They have a thing. So it's supposed to do a countdown, right?
Yeah, it does one on the screen too.
Okay. All right. Okay. So it says we're recording. I didn't see a countdown, but
Okay. Maybe because you're screen sharing. I don't
maybe
know.
so. Maybe so. Okay.
So like right now, I can see you.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're kind of off to the side over here, and then I see
Yes.
the screen that you're sharing.
Okay. Cool. And I have trash internet, so like your video is actually blank on my end, but it did say there's like a little message that said like the video will still be recorded for you. So that'd be something else to test.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I wonder if they have desktop application like Zoom or something, because it it's familiar to Zoom, but it's not necessarily the same, of course. But I know it seems like the whole point of this is to like do stuff in the cloud, so that way it saves certain things, but it processes certain things locally to not make it as intensive.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So anyway, testing for Player Two's podcast that was supposed to happen tonight, but did not.
Exactly.
Not our faults.
we take no responsibility.
None at all. So yeah, I play Kingdom Hearts. Jordan plays Kingdom Hearts.
I'm not playing.
Have you been keeping it?
That melody.
Oh, okay. All right. You don't have to play it. Did you watch some cutscenes though? Did you see the cutscenes?
For sure.
Okay. Okay. So we can talk about the cutscenes because the cutscenes are kind of important. I don't think I'll sit through the whole game, but some things happen. So there's like this place that we saw in the last one at the end. If you got all the secret stuff, which I didn't, but I did. So whatever. But yeah, you see Yozora, and then you see a city. You see, depending upon if you beat Yozora or not, Sora either fades away or just doesn't come back home. Your main man's Riku walking through that same weird looking realistic the world ends with us or the world ends with you type of town. Very Shibuya-esque, if you will. And yeah, so that was that. We all assumed more information would come. And then, yeah, they say they're going to do Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories, which if you take the first three letters of that stands for MOM. And if you really paid attention to the game, there is a Master of Masters who carries the same initials and never shows up in this game.
You're not gonna see him yet, though.
He's not gonna be in this game at all, so don't get in the mood. But yeah, so you play the game as Kairi because the game is all about Kairi's memories, and they discover, her journey through her memories through music. Then you get to the end. Well, pretty much the end. And yeah, then it shifts to her seeing Xehanort, and it's like, wait a minute, we just killed him. Like, he's supposed to be dead. Him and Airquas, just squashed it out, squabbled it up, and just said, hey, we're good. We're just gonna fade off, let the kids handle it. Everything's fine. And so yeah, then after that, she sees him, and it's like, oh, how is he back? And it's like, oh, but it's her memories though. So trauma, and we all know Kingdom Hearts it's really a game about social anxiety, traumatic experiences. Sora is like the most pain character in existence, and it's not really his fault. It's like everyone else is like a leech on his heart. So, but anyway, yeah. So Kairi begins to fight Xehanort, loses very badly, and it's like, you've been getting Keyblade Master training for about two and a half games, at least for sure. Like all of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
Some of I think Dream Drop Distance or something like that, or at least 2.8. Like her and Axel haven't just been chilling.
For sure.
She can't fight.
not in the slightest.
I was just gonna say it. You know, what I mean, I feel like she should be training with Aqua or something because
Yeah,
she ain't got no hands.
yeah,
Not nah. Like they tried to make her like pop off in her little cutscene, and Xehanort was like, "Nah, I'm still that guy." So to
that's
rectify this,
like logically, she definitely should have been training with somebody who had a sword. You know, Axel.
for sure, like I
Axel,
mean,
was
Axel's a newbie, but he worked for the organization, so he kind of know what he's doing, you know. But
sure. Look at Rico though. Rico got mad hands. A lot of it from King Mickey.
so I don't think Riku likes them. Like,
Yeah, no.
you know, he does not really want to spend his time with them. And this game kind of proves it. Like, by the end of it, he's like, yeah, you know, I have my own game coming. You can do your own thing. You're not ready for this though. So yeah, I'm leaving, not you. But yeah, so you know, and so I guess there's like a large part of the Kingdom Hearts community that truly believes that Nomura hates Kairi. And I've never thought of this before. Like I've never considered it or anything,
Mhm.
but I can kind of see where they're coming from. Like I kind of get it, you know. Like it's she's been in as many games as Sora and Riku, and she's still whack. So now, granted, I mean, storyline wise, I've always appreciated her character, but like
Mhm.
I don't know, it's like people who want to play Zelda and Legend of Zelda games. I get it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
She's always felt to me like either her purpose was like damaging the distress, or
Mm-hmm.
it was just for Sora's growth and somehow.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's always been her place. I don't know why it's always been the thing, but in the first game, whole motivation was like finding his friends, which included
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
Second game was still kind of like more of that,
Mm-hmm.
and finding Kyrie still, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like Kyrie is never like her place is there, but it's not like it's used for other people though.
Yeah, so I Kingdom Hearts obviously wrote it revolves around trios of characters. You have
Mm-hmm.
Sora, Riku, Kairi, um, Roxas, Axel, Shion, or you know Roxas, Lee, Shion, whatever, and then
Aquaterra
yeah,
Ventus.
Aqua, Terra, Ventus, and it's like okay, each group has a girl. Um, they have Kairi, you got Shion, who kind of counts, and then but then, even then, like when we say that, like there's a nominee who's kind of an outlier, but still is like a big, big, big person in the story. Uh, you have Aqua, who is like probably the best female character in this franchise. I would say, kind of like hands down.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
uh, and I thought they treat Aqua very appropriate. Like
Mm-hmm.
playing as her in like 2.8, and it's like, oh, this is how Keyblade Master feels like. I was like, oh, okay, she's different. Like she's not just like no sit around with the Keyblade hits. Like, yeah,
Right.
she got hands. Um, so yeah, and I mean, there are some people who feel like Nomura puts Aqua through a lot of unnecessary stuff, but I don't know. I think like every character in this franchise has gone through again trauma. Like they've all gone through the worst of the worst. Like losing your friends, people dying. You got to be asleep for like 12 million years before you can wake up and even do anything. So yeah, all of this to say, get to the point in Melody of Memory where it's time for Kairi to fight Xehanort and potentially, you know, get her little Super Saiyan upgrade. And what does she do? She turns into Sora. I can kind of see why people think that Nomura hates Kairi now.
Like where I just want to know where that would have came from.
I don't get it.
Like,
I don't really understand it.
was no more the reason for Kyrie being in there? I feel like maybe somebody outside could have been like, if somebody outside was like, yo, let's put Kyrie in here, or let's put this female character in here, then I can understand like, yeah, no, Nomura, he's pushing back against that. But
Mm-hmm.
where did like, what's actual Kyrie's origin as far as storytelling? Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
whose idea
They
was
never said
this?
they never really go back into her backstory, and she has the closest ties to like Radiant Garden, Hollow Bastion. Her grandma gives the little story about like how um I forget how it goes, but you know, she tells like a little significant story. And that's like her story, her grandmother's story is like the whole basis for KHUX, the little mobile game or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, like, we still don't know who her grandma is. Actually, we don't know who anyone's parents are, so I guess that kind of doesn't really matter. But even then, it's like, you know, they show even a scene in this game of like Kyrie in Radiant Garden trying to run away while the Heartless are like coming around. Then like Terranort gets her, puts her in the capsule. Yeah, remember these words. She obviously forgets, hence why this game, she remembers it because of going through her memories. None of this explains why she turns into Sora to fight Xehanort. It just doesn't. But I mean, at the end of the day, he gets it. He was like, "Oh, so that's where you are." I'm like, huh. "This is a great Kingdom Hearts game." That's how it works all the time.
You know, Kingdom Hearts gotta keep it either convoluted or just, you know, whimsical.
Has to
I
be.
guess is a good word for it.
Has to be. It's either a Rubik's Cube or it's super childlike. And it's like, oh, that's Kingdom Hearts 3. So yeah, we know the name of the city that they're going to be going to. It's called Quadratum. There's a girl who we saw a flash of in the secret ending for Kingdom Hearts 3. And apparently you meet her in the final world as Sora at the end of Kingdom Hearts. Well, not at the end, but during the final moments of Kingdom Hearts 3, when you're walking around the final world, there is like one of those particular stars that you can talk to. And he doesn't really recognize her, but he does say he's going to try and help her. But then, yeah, you know, later on, he gets apparently stuck in Quadratum. And she's still there in the final world. Fairy Godmother comes out of nowhere and is like, hey, yeah, so I know her. I know this other place exists that's called an unreality that everyone else just figured out. And that's all I can help y'all with. And it's like, well, when's the last time we saw you? Like Kingdom Hearts 2? Was she the one that helped out? No, that wasn't her. She helped out in Kingdom Hearts 1, right? I can't remember when she first came through. Because
I remember her being in the first game.
Yeah, so I think when you first go to Merlin's place or something like that, she pops up. I want to say that was like where I first remember seeing her. But that's like Twilight Town from game 1. And in game 2, well, Kingdom Hearts 2, there are the other, I think the fairy godmothers who help out. No, I'm the same people. I don't know. Whoever helps out with making Sora's new outfit. Remember, it's like a trio of them.
Oh, those are oh shoot. I think it's like the 3 fairy godmothers.
That's all I want to say, right? Yeah, so it's like, I don't know her relationship to them, because I don't remember my Disney movies off the top of my head like that. But yeah, anyway, so this chick has known about this since KH1. Like, like what? So yeah, it's goofy. I get it. It's Kingdom Hearts. It's not over. To be dead. So it is interesting that he showed up here, but technically he's in Kyrie's memory, so it's not like the real Xehanort. So I don't expect to see him any further. But you know how this game works. Like they always show flashbacks to everybody else. Yeah. But yeah.
Something I guess I just thought about. Are they really like is Namor really still trying to harp that idea that like Sora and Kyrie are basically just like one and the same person in a sense? Because it's like the fact that she turns into him always has to symbolize something.
Yeah.
I feel like since they've been so tied together from like game 1 and have continued to be tied together since, I guess there's supposed to be some semblance between the two of them.
I don't know. I mean, because literally all the other ones all stand apart, except I guess Xion, but she doesn't really have a choice because she's not necessarily. I mean, she's real now, but she's supposed to be a clone of a clone. Like, so it's like she was the most convoluted version of her. But then you have like, and like Kyrie has to be her own individual because remember she is the one that she's the whole reason why Sora got a nobody because he was a heartless and you know all that type of stuff. He sacrificed himself for her. That's when he makes Roxas and all that stuff. But then like you have Naminé and it's like, well, Naminé is supposed to be the nobody version of Kyrie, and she's really, really, really significant, I would say. So I don't know. I just feel like they're just trying to make sure we understand that Kyrie and Sora rely a lot on one another, which I guess gets lost in translation a lot because of how rarely they actually get to be with one another. Um, by the end of by the end of 3 though, it is like, cool. Sora goes gets her and everything like that, but then he's gone. So I get that she wants to be on the search for him, but yeah, I don't get why his memory would be inside of her to turn it into him when he's fighting Xehanort. That's just weird. I don't know. But
That's not related to when he gave up his heart for hers, right?
I wouldn't think so, because I mean, it honestly feels like it's so. If we're taking the memory aspect of it completely, like it's like it seems weird because like at no other point does she transform into anyone else.
Yeah.
And she wasn't in all these battles herself, but she's going through the whole history of Kingdom Hearts within these songs. And it's like, well, how canon do you really want this to be? But they really want this to be canon. So it's like all these other fights against bosses that she's never physically gone up against or been even in the cutscene for, like, she wasn't there. But I mean, is it because she just knows that Sora fought Xehanort so hard that she had to turn into him to fight? I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand. But
The rabbit hole.
yeah, for sure. I do think though at this point that is at least this game has happened, so it has clued us into what's coming. It seems like Kingdom Hearts. I mean, someone actually made this statement online. I didn't fact check it, but it probably is true. There's always been a Kingdom Hearts game every year, even though it may not be the mainline ones that we've been wanting. You still get either your collections or a little side one or the mobile game. I guess the mobile game actually counts because of the story. But yeah, I mean, like all of that is something that has happened consecutively, apparently. So if so, I mean, it seems as if he has some stuff that's in the tuck already about what's to come. And he kind of said that after the 3 ended. It was like, yeah, the Xehanort storyline is over, but I'm not done with the characters. So there will be more stuff that happens with Sora, maybe not with everyone else or vice versa. And definitely seems like we're pushing into that realm. One of the theories I was looking at about everything happening with Quadratum and everything is like, okay, so you have an unreality, which is, the Disney stuff is based in the Kingdom Hearts universe right now. And each world is kind of like its own little reality or whatever. So when we got the Verum Rex in Toy Story, it's like, okay, if you think about it on a high level, someone wrote the story for Verum Rex, and then it was a game in the Toy Story world. Now we're actually going to go into this world kind of within a world, if you will, because like someone wrote the story to this world. and now that's supposed to be taken as literal. So we're going to go into that world. It's very strange. But yeah, apparently like that's the theory now. Like every place is a universe. Like we could have a universe inside of the Cage universe. So yeah, I don't know. It's strange, but I'm along for the ride. Okay. It's gonna be crazy. Whatever happens, I at least want to see how it goes. I do think, because it makes somewhat of a sense though, because I mean, like you have a very realistic Japan-looking environment. It doesn't look kid-like at all. It doesn't look Disney-like at all. Like, and yeah, like so. I think the Latin stands for Verum Rex stands for True King. We already know that relates very heavily to like Final Fantasy Versus 13, in terms of how Yozora looks, how he first was introduced into the game, reflecting back onto the original Versus 13 trailer. So yeah, I'm very intrigued to see how that goes, and I really do hope that it has more serious Square stuff in it instead of the Disney aspect. I mean, if it's called Kingdom Hearts, it's probably gonna have to have some Disney stuff in it. I get that, but if we're going into like a more realistic territory, like I thought Fransokyo was kind of cool, San Fransokyo, where it was like Realistic City, Donald and Goofy still kind of fit here. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Pirates of the Caribbean, they still fit. For instance, that always was like the one that was kind of like the peak, where it was like, all right, we getting kind of strange now. I guess Tron too, where like anytime you get like actual human looking characters, and yeah, they're interacting with these cartoons, it's weird. But I don't know, man. Like I don't. I see this as like them going. If they're going to do like some real like lifelike looking environments and stuff like that, it's going to be very strange or jarring to say the least with Donald and Goofy still around. So I don't know. I think this is really going to be a more focused Riku doing his thing, being in like a Final Fantasy styled world where it's like, you know, just humans. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they have some type of story elements that do revert back to the Disney stuff, but I just think it's going to be a little different.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of, I kind of hope it's more like an FF game in the sense that it's more, I guess, reality based. Like you
Mm-hmm.
were saying, less of the Disney stuff. Because I never thought I would say it, but after playing three, I didn't really like the Disney stuff. Wasn't really hitting, except for maybe a couple worlds.
Yeah.
There were a couple in three that I can say I enjoyed. You know, like you said, San Francisco was dope.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like the design of the Toy Story world,
Mm-hmm.
but it got a little bit back and forth, kind of dragged out longer than it needed to.
Yeah.
As I've said 1,000 times, I hate the Frozen world.
Yeah. I guess,
But it's
yeah, like,
I feel like it's just a difference in the Disney tone. Like maybe it was just something about those initial worlds in one and two and how they went about it that was just really nice, or like what Disney let them do at the time was nice. I feel like it's changed up with Disney
yeah,
as far as how they
I
let you
agree.
like use their stuff.
I agree. I feel like everything up until three was very cohesive. And I'm not one to like ever I for all the faults that I can talk about with this, like it's in my head, it's always going to be perfect. Like the fact that it even worked from the first game for me is enough to be like, I love it. So I never want to just like seem as if I'm like overthinking it, because I know I can,
Yeah.
but it's like I definitely know for one, two, and the side stories that went along with them. Any Disney World that you went to, it integrated well with both the characters and their storylines in the Disney world, but also you had the other elements of the Kingdom Hearts stuff happening, and it all just blended better. You know, like it just there was either all sides interacted at some point in time, and it didn't just seem very static and like this is the Disney stuff. Okay, this is the Kingdom Hearts exposition. Like that's how three felt. Like you would do a world, and the first 5 minutes, like in the intro of the 5 minutes of the map and why we're here and everything like that, you may see someone, or like I know like in Monsters Inc. University or Monsters Inc. world, like you see Vanitas, he taunts you a little bit, and then like you do the whole level, like you do literally everything. Like it's like no, he doesn't really pop up anymore for anything, maybe once or twice, and then at the end of it, you beat the little boss or whatever. Sora and his pals talk with each other. They may talk with the people who live there, and then they out. Like that's it. It doesn't. It's just like very bare minimum stuff. And even then, I mean, like I think of places like from KH1 where it's like you have Traverse Town, and it's like Traverse Town is not a Disney World. Like it has Disney people in it, but it's not a Disney World. Or like Hollow Bastion, Radiant Garden. Like these are like, you know, made up worlds that still work, but they're not a Disney World. Whereas like in KH, there's like Disney World, Disney World, Disney World, like Frozen, and they're just very self isolated. Like I love the Pirates of the Caribbean. I thought they did that very fantastic in number three. But even then, it's like again, these are just like little small stories that they're just telling about these worlds, and they don't really link to anything greater. Like you do, I think you do. I think it's Pirates then San Francisco. I could be wrong, but however that rotation works, it's like you do those, and then you're at the end of the game. Like you're going to the Keyblade graveyard after that, and there's like no bridge there. It's just like, oh, I did this. Now I can fly here, and now we're getting to the game again. Like it just didn't seem like I was playing the same game. It's very weird.
I definitely agree with you. I feel like with the first and second one, as far as like formula wise,
Mm-hmm.
it was like we all know the best parts of that game had really not much to do with Disney,
Mm-hmm.
but the Disney stuff was like the cherry on top for the game. Like any of the Disney story stuff, any of those worlds that you went to in one and two, and in the side stories, they were all just extra great, just dope stuff that you could add on to it. But we all know some of the best stuff was the original, actual Square Enix stuff.
Yeah.
Being in Radiant Garden, we all know about the 1 versus 1,000
Ah,
and having
very
that
good.
whole fight.
Very good.
We know about the whole end sequences with like both of these games having epic end sequences. Like even before you get to Kingdom Hearts itself, that whole final boss, what leads up to that. Like being in what was it, the Castle of Hollow Bastion and trying to fight your way through that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in the first one.
Yep.
Like going through that for the first time and then having to come back to it after all the events, like those were some of the best moments, but the Disney stuff was like extra.
Yeah.
Whereas to me in the third game, it felt more like, yeah, this side stuff, that Square Enix stuff is excellent, top tier. I love that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But the Disney stuff was like, those were all low points to me. Well, not all of them, but there's a lot of low points in the Disney stuff.
Yeah. It just felt like, hey, put our movie in the game. Like literally the movie. Like Tangled. Okay, we're gonna use these characters. We're gonna retell the movie. Then you can leave. And it's like, okay, same thing with Frozen. It's like we're gonna do a song. And I'm like, man, if the musical aspect only came in with the other ones in like Little Mermaid's world. And it's like cool. Like I'm gonna do it. I don't really like it, but it's fine, you know. Or like even with like Winnie the Pooh, which I thought they like super butchered, and it's like you should have just either left it off or
Big time.
or just like really did it like last time. Because like I kind of messed with the storybook aspect of it and everything. I thought that was fine. Sometimes yeah, the Winnie the Pooh stuff got a little long in 100 Acre Woods, but like it was okay. But then it's just like making mini games. It's like filler. All right.
Hmm.
So
Exactly.
yeah,
But it was like they somehow made you care about Winnie the Pooh.
yeah,
Like when you get into two and you're like you realize Pooh Bear just lost all his memories, you're like, dang,
yeah. It did them
that's
dirty.
not fun.
Did them dirty.
like even though this is filler, this is still some filler I care about.
Yeah, it's like you don't remember me from the first game, bro. Like we were
Exactly.
homies. He's like, I don't know you. Yeah, so I don't know. I just three just was very awkward with that, with those transitions, with the way they blended this whole story together. And I still don't know necessarily why that's the case, because again, like you say, I think really just Disney just wanted to like maybe try some different things. And it is kind of unfortunate that it is so heavily tied to the Disney franchises. I do think there are ways to get around it in the sense of, you know, again, just implementing different aspects of the Disney stuff. Like, I even thought like the 101 Dalmatians was always genius, whereas like you go to these different worlds and you can just find them and they go back to Traverse Town. But that's cool. Like, you don't need a whole world devoted to 101 Dalmatians. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Now, granted, there are a lot of universes they can pull from. I think two is probably like the one I prefer the most, where you can go back to like Steamboat Willie and all that type of stuff. I thought all that stuff was dope.
That was
Yeah.
dope. That was dope. Yeah.
Like I do think they could get pretty cool with that. And I know with Kingdom Hearts 3, you know, it went through some development issues, obviously. It changed engines to Unreal. And I think maybe they might have had other ideas in place before then. But at the end of the day, like this new stuff has to be different. And I think the mobile game kind of pushes things in a way that makes it different too, because it truly is just focused on the KH stuff. Now, at first, of course, like it is a lot of going through similar worlds. You do Agrabah, you do a lot of Wonderland, and everything like that. But like now, where the well, Kingdom Hearts UX Dark Road, where it's at right now, like on the UX side of things, you're in like the Wreck-It Ralph world, and it's like Wreck-It Ralph didn't even have a world in the mainline games yet. So that's cool because like it's kind of like going through there, but you get the Wreck-It Ralph story to an extent, but there's still like other stuff that's happening that clues you in on, okay, these are the deeper things going on behind the scenes. Dark Road is all about Xehanort and Iroquois, and they're like friends or whatever, and it's cool. Like they have some good exposition with one another. Yeah, I just think three just compartmentalize stuff so heavily, like into the Disney stuff, and then it's like at the end of the game we get the lore we were all waiting for. Like, okay, how's this going to end? So yeah, it just seems like they've done so much of the focus on Disney, make it kitty, and now it's like you get into the stuff where it's like, all right, Riku's going to the real world. We should have a real game now. Like, I just feel like that transition should definitely be as smooth as possible. But who knows? I don't know. I mean, the consoles are going to make the graphics look great. Like, that's not a thing. But when you have good looking graphics and bad stories, it doesn't make a good game. So, yeah, I don't know.
But even with that, one thing I do want to bring up, I feel like on a future podcast we should definitely talk about Disney's effect with games.
Just in general, yeah.
They've been, because even with Marvel vs. Capcom, Infinite, how that turned out. But another day, I will say,
it hurts me.
As much as exactly, as lukewarm as I feel like I sort of am on 3, or I was when I was playing it, for a lot of it. Like, all of that disappeared in those last couple hours.
Dude, when you hit the Keyblade Graveyard, like, it turns into another game. It's like,
exactly. And it's like that's why I believe in Square Enix and making an actual really good story and game. But they, like you said, it just has to be structured.
Yeah.
Because that like 3, the ending of 3 is insane.
I forgot everything that happened up to that point, bro. Like, I can only remember some of the worlds I went to, but like, dude, overall, like, that game is the ending. Like, it's everything that happens once you get to the Cuban Graveyard. Like, people start sacrificing themselves. People start dying. I was like, what is happening? Like, I was not prepared to start seeing what I was seeing, and I thought that was perfect. Like, I was like, okay, these are the payoffs that I've been waiting for. But it's just like, you have to get through the Disney stuff first. And I just felt like in the other games, all that stuff felt way more intertwined. And it could just be, I mean, it was 14 years since like we got KH3 before like Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. So I mean, and granted, like, other stuff have come out in between, but I always just never felt as like they were so diametrically opposed. So yeah, I really hope that they let them do what they need to do with this next series, whether it's, multiple games or what. I mean, of course there'll be multiple games, but just however they plan on going through with it. I hope they take notice of how people reacted to Final Fantasy VII with the remake. I know that's obviously not a one-to-one thing, because Final Fantasy VII is Final Fantasy VII. Like, that's a whole world universe by itself that they fully control, can do whatever they want to with it, but they respect it enough to, like, leave it alone for the most part. Make some changes, but here or there. But with Kingdom Hearts, it's like they gotta talk to Disney. Like, those are Disney's characters. Like, they may do it. I think there's a rumor of like a TV show happening or something like that, and it's like, okay, like, I think so. Yeah, like an animated show. And it's like, all right. Like, like, at least at this, I don't feel like they can ruin it for me. Like, you can literally be done. Like, if you've waited like I have since like game 1 up until game 3, and you play 3, even if you play some of the DLC, like, it's not like you don't have to keep going. Like, and I get like people wanting to, like myself, but I also understand like if you want to stop. Like, because it's an ending. But I just hope that they treat whatever they do next with enough attention and attention to detail, and just care for the characters we actually care for. Like, yeah, like, I don't want to go to Agrabah again. I know it's been a while, but still, I'm cool. Like, I saw those desert sands too much. And I do think Disney has a lot more stuff that they can pull from. Like, oh, dude, like, all right, like, big brain time. Like, now that Disney owns so many IPs, Star Wars and Marvel, it just makes sense to me in my head that we can start tapping into that with Kingdom Hearts. And that's how you make big boy Kingdom Hearts. Like, granted, it's Disney, so you don't have to make it like right? It doesn't have to be like mad mature or anything like that. But like, they're teenagers, like young adults now. Like, these dudes have been around for a very long time as far as like the characters in the game. And I love Donald. I love Goofy. Donald pretty much was ready to let it all go last game. He can chill. He can take a break. Like he's fine. Like I can get another partner campaign. I could just be Sora and just like walk around and every world give me two other people to be cool with for that world. That's fine. But like, let me go to like a Star Wars universe. Let me fight Darth Vader. Like, let me get a lightsaber keyblade. Stop playing with me. Like that just makes sense.
That
It
really
makes so much
does.
sense, bro. Like I saw some fan art like years ago, and it's like a Darth Vader keyblade holder type thing. It was amazing. I was like, this makes all the sense in the world. Like you have the Force already, you have the Sith, you have the Jedi. Like it all makes sense for a Kingdom Hearts world. Um, Marvel, infinite amounts of stuff they can pull from. Even if you want to keep up with just the properties that they can use with who everyone is like mainline Avengers type stuff, you can do these things. Like it does not just have to be tied to Winnie the Pooh, Mickey Mouse. Oh, well, Mickey himself is a gangster in Kingdom Hearts, so keep him. But you know what I mean.
Hmm.
So,
I agree. I agree. I feel like there's a lot that Disney has
mm-hmm,
right now, and and honestly, it's just growth
mm-hmm,
at this point. So you could throw anything in there. And I would like to see more like inventive places too, other than like the
yeah,
obvious. Cause like you said, the Tron world, Pirates of the Caribbean, all of that stuff was
mm-hmm,
awesome to see, and to see like how they brought that kind of to life, even though it's still real
right.
life, or at least it's filmed in like a, real
I mean,
place.
even Toy Story, it was like walking like Andy Street, and it's like the scale. It was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. And they have so many Pixar movies they could pull from if they wanted to. Like we could have had Incredibles a while ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that would have been amazing. Like no, I don't want to see Cars. Please don't put a Cars mini game. Don't do anything goofy like that. Like we should be out of this type of stuff. Like like
No.
I don't know. I want it not necessarily. I think when I say adult versus like childlike or whatever, that could come off kind of wrong. Like I don't want it to be like that. I just I just feel like the series has matured and is telling more mature stories with some of the characters. And for it to just remain on that level, it has to step up as far as like the worlds that you go to. Like if you're going to something that was made for literal kids, like just like straight kids worlds, that's one. Like when you're going to the ones where like adults can really appreciate it too, it 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 makes sense for how old the franchise is to now maybe try and play up to that a little bit more. I get that they have to do both for both, but I think I don't know if it's is Kingdom Hearts E10 or is it like rated T for teen? I think it's T for teen. I don't know. But if it's T for teen, like they should just go ahead and let it be T for teen, do your thing. So I don't know.
I think OG Kingdom Hearts
Okay.
was E10, and then I think two
Okay.
was T. Mostly because of
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
pirate stuff
Yeah.
that they added.
So I don't know. I just feel like as long as they want to push it, they can. Like, don't give it. You don't have to go crazy and make it M-rated or anything stupid. But like,
Yeah, I do agree. I think there's a level that you
mm-hmm,
can go with it, like where you can still add that depth without without losing
yeah,
too much. So like FF7 for example, FF7 is a game with a lot of depth and a lot of like character interpersonal relationships and just like small nuances that really only experience in life you would pick up on. So it's like, but they still somehow managed to make FF7 simple enough where younger audiences can still
mm-hmm,
get into it. But it's like but FF7 really opens up more when you become older and you start to understand more. And I think that's the kind of level I'd like to see from Kingdom Hearts. That place where it's like, yes, you can still have fun with this as a kid. You may not understand
mm-hmm,
every theme in there or some of the smaller details, but for us who are older and can really see a lot of that stuff, I think it
yeah,
adds a whole lot. Because for me, it doesn't even take a whole lot, like story wise, because you can have an incredibly simplistic story. I'll give you an example. Perfect example. I'm a
mm-hmm,
James Bond fan. I love
mm-hmm,
watching James Bond movies. Skyfall is up there with one of my favorites. It's not my
mm-hmm,
top favorite, but it's up there. And Skyfall is like literally just a
Yep.
single revenge plot. At its lowest level, it is a revenge plot, and that's something that anyone as young or old can understand. But then when you really pay attention to the movie on why he's so vengeful and why he's going after him, you're like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. Like he felt abandoned. This dude took a whole like cyanide pill and did not
Mm-hmm.
die from that thing, but nobody still came to save him. So it's like you start to understand, and it's like those little nuances for me that was like, yeah, no, this is dope.
Yeah.
I enjoy this. So I feel like Kingdom Hearts should do the same thing, where it's like, yeah, we can make this story simplistic at its base level, but then to really get the full experience of it, you got to look a little deeper than that.
Yeah. And I guess to that, it's always been extremes. It's always been like keep it super childlike or make it extra convoluted so that nobody can get it.
Exactly,
and,
exactly.
and I think, as it felt like initially when the first game came out, like that was a one and done. But Nomura's process more recently, at least since he started making sequels, was that he plans one game in advance as well. So they write up the current game, but he's already planning stuff for the next one. So that's why when you get Chain of Memories, you already know how you're going to start the first week as Roxas and everything like that. And I feel like it got to points where, like, yeah, it's convoluted, but I think that's a meme, right? Because, like, if you really pay attention to the story as best as you can, as far as like following it from the get go, a lot of it, there are some goofier intermixings, especially when the dialogue in the game is not the greatest. So whenever they start talking about darkness and light, it just sounds silly. But the concepts themselves are really explained and fleshed out to an extent that you can follow it, right? But emotionally, it does so well sometimes. Like, fam, when you have after you've I never played like Chains of Memories myself. So starting Kingdom Hearts 2 was of course different. I was like, who's this guy? Why am I playing as him? All right, where's Sora? Okay, found Sora. Cool. Oh, that dude can hold two keyblades? No, that's dope, And by the end of it, it's like I appreciate it too. Still didn't really like figure out Roxas completely. So when they do 358 over 2 days, I was like stunned. I was like, yo, this is one of the best stories of this whole franchise. Like Roxas himself is like he's such a sad character, bro. Like, and the way that they leave off at the end of the game is like before that first week happens in Kingdom Hearts 2. So it's like you see everything come full circle, but you see how much this person has suffered up until that point, and you get it. Like it's like, oh, dang, this like hits me right here in the chest. Like, dude's been through so much, doesn't have his friends anymore. Then he comes to find out he's not even supposed to be himself, and he basically has to let himself go for this real main character of the whole story to like come back. So you see why he's like an underdog. You see why he has this almost like a vendetta against Sora to an extent, because he's like, you don't appreciate the life you have because you haven't really been through anything. And it's true. Like Sora for like the first game, yeah, he had to leave Destiny Island and everything, but he had to work to like wield the Keyblade. Like it was at one point where like Riku was like, "Yeah, you don't deserve this. Take this wooden toy." Like he just punked him out of his Keyblade, and like Donald and Goofy left him. Like it's like it goes places. So I think from those aspects, even from the get go, like those have been good. They just need more of that as the series progressed, and I think it's been there. Like you see Cloud, he's stoic Cloud like Final Fantasy VII, but still like conflicted on some things. You fight Sephiroth. One of the biggest disappointments about 3 is that there's no Sephiroth fight. Like there's no Final Fantasy stuff pretty much at all. But I mean, it's just like you still get so much from those like type of fights too, where it's like just these really powerful beings of darkness and like what they represent. So at the end of the day, do I think that it's gotten worse or better? I think the franchise as a whole has gotten better. Like I don't think it's as crazy as it was when it first started off. And I think all the other side games, besides out of the exception of Chains of Memories, which I did not play, but I know about Castle Oblivion. I get why it's so important. I've seen like the movies and everything that they've done in the later collections. But yeah, I played through Birth by Sleep. I appreciated Birth by Sleep heavily, like understanding the pain of all 3 of those characters. Going into Dream Drop Distance, and it's like, dang, like Riku's gonna become a Keyblade master, but Sora can't. Like how much that has to suck for Sora. And then it's like, he spends all of three to like really prove himself again. Like I get that aspect of it, but three just felt so weird. It just felt strange. And I just feel like hopefully with the next game, especially like if it's a Riku focused game, like Riku's always been kind of a solid character. And he's no longer a chump. Riku was emo for one game, and then he became pretty okay. Like Kingdom Hearts 2 Riku, after he like got his form back and everything, was all right. But every game since then, like he's been pretty dope. He's not like a Sasuke or something where he just kind of got hecka emo and just stayed that way. So yeah, hopefully like with the next game, they'll just really be able to focus on the characters, like I said, that we really enjoy, that are the main characters of this franchise, and make it seem appropriate. Like I can't, like, I love Mickey Mouse in Kingdom Hearts. I just don't see him popping up in this like crazy realistic looking world for no reason. Like it's way more realistic than like San Francisco and stuff like that. And so yeah, I don't know. I think if they really want to do it, like if Nomura is such a madman that he really wants to make the Final Fantasy 13 verses that he wanted to make the whole time, like, and this is gonna be this one game and it's a Kingdom Hearts game instead, like do it. Just let him do it. Let the Disney stuff be like just in the weapons or something, like like just keep it super duper minimal, because I feel like that would be extra dope. I don't know. Oh, by the way, you said James Bond. Favorite out of the Daniel Craig 4 movies? It's been 4, right? Casino, Quantum, Skyfall, and Spectre.
Skyfall and then
Skyfall, that's the best. All right, I'm a man of Casino Royale taste. I think that was.
Casino
Yeah.
Casino Royale is great. I still cringe at the.
Oh yeah, hurts every time. Hurts every
To
one of
this
the worst
day.
torture scenes I've ever seen, whether horror movie, realistic movie,
Yes.
fictional. Yeah, no, it hurts. Hurts very bad. Quantum is forgettable. And I don't understand why. Like I don't know how it took such a nosedive. But I mean it's James Bond, so like I love it to one extent, just for the swag. But yeah.
Yeah, it was like I enjoyed watching the movie, but I didn't care. Like even though James Bond stories aren't known to
Nah.
be super complex, this one was just
Yeah,
like
super forget. I don't know who the
I'm cool. I'm cool with the action
I don't know
and
who the
stuff.
main baddie was. I don't know why he's a bad guy. Like who's the damsel? Like, I don't know none of that. Like it's whatever. Excuse me. Skyfall though, very good, super on point, great action. Javier Bardem was his name? No. Who's
Javier
the
Bardem.
Javier? Yeah,
Yes,
super dope.
Javier
Liked
Bardem.
him. I thought Spectre was not bad. Um,
So the only problem I have with Spectre is I get what they're going for. They're trying to tell the
yeah,
story
yeah.
of Blofeld, but it's weird because like it goes back to that like argument that people had of
Mm-hmm.
making James Bond
Mm-hmm.
black and the continuity, because it's like it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't fully make sense with previous movies. And I love Blofeld as a like reoccurring
Mm-hmm.
villain in multiple Bond films, but every time you've seen him, especially in Thunderball, Blofeld always acts like
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't know
Mm-hmm.
this man
Mm-hmm.
James at all. But then they go into this story where it's like he's like what, an adopted brother
Something like that. Yeah.
to Bond, and I'm just like I don't. It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense
Yeah.
story wise mentally for me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't hate the movie by any means. I don't think it's bad, but it's like Blofeld's like origin story for me was just it throws off everything previous.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate the
And
movie though.
the fact that they even got off Spectre in a realistic way was kind of cool too. Like I did like that. Um,
Yeah,
of course, with pandemic and everything, we haven't been able to see the latest one. I was excited for it though.
that is true. With no
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no time to die.
And apparently, he's not James Bond in this one. Well, not 007 anyway. It's going to be the black actress. And I mean, for all that talk about Idris not being able to be him, I think Idris could be him. Like it's just
Facts.
let my man
Facts.
do it.
Facts. I I never had a problem with Idris being there, but you just got to
Yeah.
make the continuity make sense. If we're just going with Bond just being a singular character, anybody can play him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Let anybody play that man as long as they're
Mm-hmm.
good and they fit the part. But if you're trying to tell me that Bond is an actual like realistic singular character, singular person, and he has to look a certain way, like he already has his own identity,
Yeah,
then we got problems. Kind of like if you like Ethan Hunt, we already know Ethan Hunt
yeah.
is a person of his own. He is that person, in story wise at least. But there's never been like confirmation, like, oh yeah, Bond is story wise. We try
Hmm.
to make him always the same person.
And they've taken liberties before. Like even with Daniel Craig, it's like instead of you saying this is in the same timeline, you just say we're just gonna go back to the beginning, so we don't have to mess with the timeline stuff. So this is how he became James Bond. Like that's cool. You can do another universe where he's black. Like I don't think that's a big deal. Like it just kind of is what it is. It's like when they did Born Legacy after you had the perfect Born trilogy. You do Born Legacy, and it's like, nah, don't do that. don't do that. What you just did, don't do
Exactly,
that.
exactly.
Yeah, keep Jeremy
We
Renner.
didn't need this.
Put him back as something else, and now he's Hawkeye, so we're cool. But like, yeah, nah. And so yeah, but then they bring him back, and it's like he says 19 words, maybe 12 words in the whole movie. It's like
Yeah.
just let him talk, or just don't do it. So I don't know. I just feel like with James Bond is like either a classified sexy man or a sexy girl, well, sexy woman, I should say, um,
Yeah.
who has swag and can shoot stuff. Like
Yes.
make them cool. Whoever you decide to go with. Now, yeah, I just feel like it's cool that they're jumping to him being or her being black and James Bond now. Well, not James Bond, 007. So yeah, that's definitely like the like key to success strategy in 2020, where it's like, you just take the instead of hey, traditional white heterosexual male, and then you just say, all right, we're just gonna do chick. And some people will say she could be gay, she could be regular, like whatever. At this point, I'm cool with just seeing differences. I felt like Daniel Craig has not wanted to be James Bond for like 2 movies now. I feel like he like stopped, and then like they brought him back in because of the bag. So I don't know, and I could be misremembering, but I definitely remember something to that effect that like he was kind of cool with not doing it anymore.
Nah, I definitely think he had a Christian
Mm-hmm.
Bale moment, or is having a Christian Bale moment where he's like he doesn't want to play the character, or at least maybe he doesn't
Sure,
want that to be his only
sure,
role that he's known for, which
yeah.
is
Like I
fine, but
really enjoyed him in Knives Out. I think that's a great movie. He did a great job with his little goofy Southern accent. So yeah, like yeah,
I think he's a great actor.
for
I think he
sure.
can do a lot of different
So
things.
I just yeah, they can let it breathe. They can give it to someone else. They can just give the mantle to someone else. And I don't think that's what's gonna happen with this movie. That's why I think it's kind of a cop out. Like, yeah, she's gonna be 007, but she probably will die. Like I like no lie, like I don't know how the story's gonna go, but like it don't seem like it's gonna stick. But who knows? It always left a bad taste in my mouth when they just came out and said, yeah, no, James Bond can't be black. I was like, he can't? You sure about that? Like yeah.
I mean, he definitely can. Is but I whatever you say, boss.
Anyway, Casino Royale, great movie. Skyfall, great movies. Great, great movies. So yeah, this test has gone on for a while. Got about an hour of almost an hour out of 5 minutes. Yeah, so thanks Kingdom Hearts for being as crazy as you are. Always a pleasure to have 6-hour conversations about light and darkness and giving me strength and all that type of good stuff.
Exactly.
um, so yeah, when we actually do a pod, what do we have coming up?
We still have to talk about
Mm,
last gen stuff. So the whole last gen celebration for the December one. I already kind of put the title in the one note, but I was thinking we could do like a cool little game awards esque thing. So we'd have maybe different categories, or we could have it just all categories or just different topics in
okay.
between each category or something. And like each of those we'd kind of give an explanation, or I could give an explanation of like what the award is for, who we'd have kind of like as our nominees, and then we discuss amongst each other, see if we can come up with one. And then Brandon did bring up a
Yeah,
good point of having like game of the decade, since we never got to talk about that. And I found a list
up there.
for some of the ones that are,
Okay.
or somebody that put like
So
that
if it's decade,
put
that
some games
I
on
guess
their
that still
list.
includes late PS3, 360. I guess Wii U.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. Like I think that's gonna be smooth. Whether we actually get a legit one off this month, since we still have time. I mean, it's Thanksgiving next week, so people should have time off from work. So we still have a way to come up from the L.
That's true.
Um, yeah, I think December is going to be good. Got Game Awards, like you mentioned. Lots of multiple ways we could talk about goaties and goat G's. I don't know how you say game of the generations, but yeah. um,
That's what we can do. That's what we can do. What if I hold off? Like
mhm.
we can put together some categories. Of course, game of the year is in there. Um, but I was going through the ones on the Game Awards too to see if there were any inspirations. But what if I hold off on doing certain topics, and we have it divided into like, we have certain ones that are like the Game Awards where we have categories and we
Mhm.
have nominees for those categories, and then in between each of those we talk about maybe some of the big stuff that could happen in the Game Awards, because I don't is
Yeah.
there's a lot of potential for stuff that could be good.
It's gonna hurt.
Could be good.
The Game Awards never pays off. I mean, like, granted, they've had the one time where they show you the Legend of Zelda footage, and it's like, okay, this is all right, like this is the best y'all done. And then at one time when Reggie came out, he had the Metroid pin on him, like on the suit, and nothing happened. So yeah, like, um,
At this point, I'm watching the Game Awards legitimately for number one,
mhm.
what they planning on showing in Among Us. So that's the big thing. And then two, just to see if there's any somewhat
Yeah, lots
surprises
of
that could be
disappointment.
disappointing.
Lots of
So
disappointment. Crack open a Mountain Dew, fall to the Doritos,
iced up.
get
Yeah.
your gamer fuel,
Yeah.
because this is that type of event, baby.
Exactly.
It's nothing high class about this.
How many MXGG do you think we're gonna see?
Oh my gosh.
As-
All right, cool. So yeah. I think we should definitely upload this. Like, I know that may sound kind of cringe, but like this is kind of cool. I didn't expect our conversation to go anywhere. So okay.
I'm cool with it. A little test footage, and we can still put up, and that gives us enough time to
Yes,
like
yes,
put up
yes.
the previous episodes too.
Um, yeah, man, December is gonna be a good rollout month. Anime Pod for sure. So right now, tentatively, it's called just the Dojo. Initially, I wanted to work some type of hidden leaf style thing, but obviously Naruto has the hidden leaf village, so I didn't want it to be like the hidden leaf, blase, blase, blase. But it's like we could pull from the village aspect,
Hmm.
and from village you have like tribesmen, or you have like the crew, just in general. And I've been trying to like work that together, but at the end of the day, it definitely is like a battle royale type thing. I'm not looking for retrospect. Now, granted, we can have separate ones where it's just like, hey, how we got here. Like, I think I have that in the OneNote. It's like my initial ideas about it, but it seems like everyone is fiending to have these bloodbaths about. All right,
I'm definitely
so
down
yeah.
for it. I do agree though. I say we keep
Oh
separate
yeah, no.
conversations.
That's not because it's
I don't
always gonna
agree with
come
that.
back. It's always gonna be, what about Goku? And it's like, all right, fam. All right.
Exactly.
It can't be Goku. But then it's like, well, Saitama hits everything we want. No, it can't be Goku. I'm like, fam, if we keep it in the universe, Goku's getting rocked. And I love Goku. Like, I love Goku.
Facts. Facts. The only problem I've ever had is that with the
Mm-hmm.
whole Goku and Saitama thing, is that Saitama's power level, I'm not up on the
Mm-hmm.
webcomic, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. Saitama's power level is still undetermined. It has that,
Mm-mm.
is that changed at all?
Nah. Yeah,
It's
nah.
still
He
it's still question marks. So his limit is still question marks. Goku has a quote unquote limit,
he's a
quote unquote.
shonen character.
It's very tentative,
He's a
right?
hey,
Because it
beat me
changes.
down.
Yeah.
and I'm a masochist, so I'm just gonna train harder, and now I'm coming back stronger. Like that's the Goku, and that's why he's great. I get it. He works through it. Saitama does not have to work. He's done all his work. All right, like he's worked enough. He wants to retire. Yeah, no 100 push-ups a day, man. Like that's just how it is. So yeah, like no spoilers to the webcomic, but he still has not gotten serious. Like I don't think he ever will. So yeah, and granted, like it's funny because like I know a lot of people will try and disrespect One Punch Man because it's based off a gimmick very heavily. But dude, the way they frame the storytelling around just the other characters who actually make the show and still make it feel good when Saitama comes in, like it's earned. It's very good. Hopefully, when y'all start seeing some of the more current revelations happening in the modern manga, you'll start to see that too. But yeah, so definitely in December we're gonna have those discussions.
Are you aiming to do it after?
I could do that because I don't know when it's coming. Okay. So I mean, that's fine. It just depends. I just don't want to conflict, since I know people's schedules will be kind of spread out. So I probably will do, because if we want to aim our stuff with pre-game awards, then that's probably like the first portion of December, late portion of November.
I was gonna say, do you want to try to? Because we'd be trying to do 2, so I don't know how well it would work out. But we definitely do have like all of winter break, and I don't know how people get off on that.
But yeah, I mean, definitely around December, like Christmas time. Like I mean, it will be easy to hopefully schedule something, and it doesn't have to be long. But I know how these guys, like how these guys are. Like they're gonna talk a lot. They have a lot of opinions. Oh,
yeah.
So yeah, I just think overall we should be able to get, and maybe it can switch up. Like not everyone has to be coming through. I think this platform itself hosts up to 8 people at once, right? I'm not sure.
Is it really? I didn't see how many it was. I know.
Let me see. I think it's 8. Let me check the support thing.
Have we ever had more than 8?
I don't think so. Let's see. How many people can record together in a session? A show can have 8 streams total, 1 host plus 7 guests. So, yeah.
Wait, is that all separately? So you can have.
Oh, like if you have 2 hosts in it? I don't know.
Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Okay, I mean, I see.
Yeah.
I see how this is.
So, I'm not sure, but I think overall, like if we think about like how many people are in the chat versus like who all want to participate, it should balance out. We should never have to worry about maximums at this point. I don't think right now. But yeah, so Player 2 podcast is coming for real. If you haven't catched up with the previous ones, we're going to be uploading that anime pod next month before the new year, hopefully. Free Melee just needs to be said. All right, as long as we're about that life. Granted, I ain't never gonna tell no company that they just gotta release their IP to the fans. I get it. It could come out very weird because I think a lot of people understand bare minimum level type stuff, and then the big league, like actual lawyers and stuff, will say like, no, this is why they do this. It's not necessarily because they hate the fans. It's just like they're protecting their IP, but people don't want to hear that. And I understand, like emotionally, like I don't want to see Melee die either. But yeah, the pipe dream is that, of course, Nintendo just steps in and says, hey, dude that made Slippy, since you're just one guy, let's hire you. You do this, and let's release Melee HD. Or if you don't even want to do Melee HD, then like let's work on the netcode for Smash Ultimate. It's still not the same though, because I mean, like Smash Ultimate is just Cass is gonna play on Wi-Fi. That's just how it is. It's just gonna play on Wi-Fi, bro. Like, and you know, we hate it. I get it. Like I understand. I really don't think two things that people get confused a lot, even though I can be a fanboy for like companies in general. Like, you know, I love Sony, like I love Nintendo. Like, that's great. I don't necessarily think they love me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think they're gonna do things just to like make me feel good. So they're not above the criticism in an extent, but I do like fairness. Like, I don't just want it to be like, I hate Nintendo. Look at how they treat the people that love their game. It's like, bro, Melee is 20 plus years old. Like, they never were in this to support it this long. The fact that the community has brought it up and that it's been that great of a game so far is amazing. And I do think there are ways to let it continue. And I just feel like they are the ones who try to be so handsy when it comes to like their old stuff. Whereas like Capcom, you can play the older Capcom games, or they've been ported up to newer systems, and you can still play those now on Twitch, and it's fine. You know, no one's tripping. But I don't think like Capcom, like I listened to the whole law video that I shared yesterday, and it's just, you know, it's not that these companies write it into their license agreements that you're just able to stream their stuff, and that's okay. Like, some of them do, not all of them. So they may take the liberty of saying, you know, on a separate thing away from the license, you know, it's like, all right, it's cool, you know, do it. But if they change their mind, which they could do at literally any point in time, like their user agreements, their license agreements, like that's stuff that they hold to legally. So yeah, it's shiesty because it's like, it's Nintendo, it's Smash. Ultimate has been great, but Melee has just been like, it's been here forever. Like, just let it keep lasting.
Yeah. I think Nintendo just has like you were saying, they have a pattern of shutting down a lot of stuff. I remember previously there was a giant embargo on Nintendo stuff just because if you put that stuff up and you weren't like a particular special YouTuber, stuff was getting blocked off rip. It would get taken down so quickly. So it was, and I think it was only like what the past couple of years that has sort of changed. I think Nintendo just has a really bad reputation standing as it is, even though they probably very well have a right to be contract wise. But in fans' mind, it
And
sits a little
it's
below.
because a lot of other companies are just more relaxed. Like, EA doesn't mind if you're streaming their games. You know, play Mass Effect all day long. Do it. You know, like who's another person? Like a Western developer. They're just not as hands-on about it. Now, I think at the end of the day, like if you start bad mouthing their game, if they want to, they're gonna do something. Because it's not, people think it's their right to just be able to do this stuff. And it's like there's so much gray area. And I think just in Japan, like stuff is treated differently. Like these people make their games and they put a lot of value into it. Like when it comes to spoilers, right? Like people get perturbed because the PS4 has, and the PS5 still, you know, has the built-in spoilers feature, and like certain companies can be like, hey, we don't want to show this scene on a broadcast with Twitch, so we're gonna block this scene. And it's like, but I bought the game and I just want to show it to the people who I'm playing it for. And it's like, well, no, they made a game. So it's crazy because like, you know, who really owns the game? But I figured this out way back with like when PS3 and 360 were like all the rage, and it was like, yeah, man, if you really look into these things, just because you buy the disc doesn't mean that you own the game. Like, you're just buying a license to be able to say, I have permission to play this software, but it's not yours. You don't own it. And so even when it comes to like emulation and stuff like that, that's why it gets tricky, because yeah, there's just different levels. So
it's weird, like that whole thing, because like having I think I read a post somewhere that was like, yeah, having ROMs isn't technically illegal, but using them and actually playing them and that's kind of like the gray area where stuff is. So it's like all the like emulators, ROMs, all of that stuff is very, very gray area. But I actually very much agree with the spoiler thing though.
Me too. Yeah.
Fine with that personally because for me it makes things a lot of wait, what?
Let me see.
Did you get that message?
Oh, Remy was trying to call. Okay.
But I think he ended it. Okay, never mind. But yeah, no, I think it makes things a whole lot easier because people are douchebags and they're gonna start spoiling stuff regardless. So like even with like going back to Last of Us
Oh,
2,
dude.
had that not got leaked beforehand, I 1000% believe that
Oh yeah.
mugger been leaked easily the day it came out. Like would have
Yep.
been mad folks making mad videos on
Yep.
stuff. You can't escape it, and I think that kind of alleviates. For me, the spoiler thing kind of alleviates some of that. I didn't know, mind you, when I
Mm-hmm.
finished Kingdom Hearts 3, I took at least like a 2 to 3 month break from that game because I did
Mm-hmm.
not like how it was going, and I still never knew a thing about the
Oh,
ending.
because yeah, when it first came out,
Not
the
a
true ending
thing.
wasn't in the game. That's right.
Exactly. I didn't know about the true ending. I didn't even know
Yeah.
about the like basic ending
Yeah.
that you get. So I was like, so I was super surprised and I was super happy that
Mm-hmm.
nothing ever came and spoiled that. It would have been completely different with some of these other games that
Yeah.
are like really lax on their spoilers, which every company has a right to, but
So it just
I was
depends. I mean, like
but
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I just
weird.
it's very strange. Like a lot of people, especially gamers, are entitled. So it's just like I made this game. And like you didn't make it. Like fam, like they could just do this, or they should just do this for everyone, and this should be fine. And it's like they have to cost money. They got to develop it. It's just a process, Like not they're not gonna get it perfect each and every time. But it's like if Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, and I hear about Breath of the Wild 2 spoilers, I'm gonna be upset. Like no.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Go
it's
to
like I
fight
just
somewhere.
and like get like with Last of Us 2, like it just was like it was spoilers. It was even just more than that. It's like the shock of it all. It's like they did what to who and what else happened? Like it's just and it's like that whole narrative for that game, the rollout, everything just was super sour from like that moment forward. And yeah, I think no developer who spends a lot of time to like make these things happen deserves that. Um, I do think they are entitled to control their own processes about marketing. Just don't be misleading with your marketing. And I think sometimes people I get rubbed the wrong way. Like a perfect example of this is like Halo 5. Halo 5 was marketed as Chief versus Locke, and I assume you can play as Chief. And the whole point was like to like fight each other or something like that. And then it's like, oh, you play the game, and it's like you play as Locke and his crew.
Hmm.
80% of the game, like 3 or so missions with Chief, and the conflict resolution was they punch each other, and then it's like, oh no, we got to do this together, and that was it. And it's like, this is the trashiest game I ever played in my life. Like, this is the worst story ever. Like, and
Yeah.
so I just feel like, yeah, your marketing it needs to be trustworthy to an extent. Don't give me the whole game, but also don't just like don't lie to me. And I think even with one of the Last of Us trailers, like they did stitch in like Joel at a place where he wasn't really in the game, and it's like okay, or in retrospect, don't do that. But at the same time, like you don't have to tell me that he died. Like I
Yeah.
will love to find that out during the game itself, and I don't want other people to just like throw that out there. Um, but yeah, I just feel like going all the way back to the emulation aspect and the Nintendo stuff, like their stuff is their stuff. Like it sucks that the pandemic hit because otherwise this would not have been an issue. Slippy itself is wonderful that it exists, right? And I don't think they can take away the right for people to play with Slippy.
Yeah.
They've always been trying to push the latest Smash Brothers game, though. Like that's why they weren't really heavily involved with tournaments. And even when Smash was like in when Melee was one of the Evos, and I think Smash 4 had just come out, and it was like, I think we just want to do Smash 4, and like the Melee community like just like they pour their hearts out for it to stay, and it did work at that point. That's good, but like there's some just backdoor shady deals with Slippy. Not that it's like terrible or anything, or it's supposed to be malicious, but it's just like, hey man, if they don't step up at all, like who knows what happens a few years later if someone wants to do something different. So I don't know. I mean, there's always going to be a mod community. There's always going to be people hacking their Switch and like putting in custom characters. So you're never going to be able to circumvent everything. At the end of the day, I do think Big House, not to say that anything is their fault, but it's like it sounds like they didn't want to submit to just not being able to do Melee at all. So they just wanted to let the whole thing go under instead of just running Ultimate. And I think that's kind of lame because it's like you still could have had something. But I understand them for sticking to their guns. I do hope there is some type of resolution that happens, because it seems like all the top Melee people are pretty vocal about it. At the end of the day, it would be nice to have like just an updated version of Melee to keep it going. Like I think at that point, it's been proven over and over and over and over again. Like
For sure.
you don't have to change this game. People enjoy it for what it is, and probably will always just enjoy it for what it is. Like they won't move on. They're just stubborn. They're not going to move on to the later ones and just completely focus on that. And it's such a small subset that it works out. But at the end of the day, if they release Melee HD, guess what happens? Like what happens to the people who play Ultimate, who just been waiting to play Melee and now can have a legit reason to just only play Melee now? Like, so I understand like kind of like the back and forth between maybe what their decision-making process is, but it hurts when you see it happen in the wrong way, where it's like, dang, like you just don't get it at all. So yeah, I think Ludwig's response with doing a charity stream is good. Like I don't think Nintendo's going to come out and bash that, hopefully, because it's for charity. So hopefully that sticks around, and I think they'll find ways. I mean, Summit is going on right now, so I mean, people are still playing the game, and I think that'll just still be a thing. But yeah. Free Melee still though. We want to play as space animals when we want to.
Facts.
20XX Final Destination, you know, all that goodness. Man, any other small stuff you want to clear up right now while we're since we're on a roll?
Dang, the only thing I had I don't even know if this is a small thing, but kind of back to the point that we were just making about, I guess, people complaining about games. I was watching a streamer earlier today, and she was talking about how much like hype and overhype plays such a huge role in some of these games. Because like people will hype up certain games to the point where it's like they almost seem like they're supposed to be the apex. Like this is the perfect game right here. And then when it ends up not being the perfect game that they envisioned themselves, and since people are different, they have different visions of what that is. It's like they then turn to like bashing the game and just killing it for no reason. Well, no, for the only for a nonsensical reason, I should say, just because it didn't live up to their version of the game.
The world itself is volatile, right? And
Man.
I come to this conclusion every time I get on Reset Era. Like I've been with that community since it was NeoGAF, since like 2012, 2013, when 360, well not 360, but when Xbox One and PS4 were in their development stages. And something about just online communities is comforting, right? Like it's comforting to be included with a community of people who like video games, because you like video games, you know, so you can talk about these things. Like when I was a kid, I used to be on the Nintendo Power forums because I like Nintendo games and I just wanted to talk about Nintendo stuff. So like when the DS came out and everyone was on there and we're sharing like our Wi-Fi codes, we're playing Mario Kart DS, like it was great. Then they shut them down, and that sucked. Like it was like I didn't have that space anymore. There was a forum, a very small forum that I was on for a while, that was purely for Street Fighter 4. So when Street Fighter 4 came out, we were on there. I was like a mod. I was able to like make channels for like every character. I threw in different stuff, like whenever a new player video came out for like especially when Super was coming out, like, you know, every combo video, every ultra, you know, that they did. I was involved, and it wasn't that many people there. There's probably maybe like 50 people that came through there somewhat frequently. It was great, you know, like it's cool to talk in those spaces. For a while, I wasn't on any forum for a while. I just would go to N4G and check the latest gaming news, and that was it, you know. And I would do it every day, you know, and I keep up with it throughout the day and see what was hot. But like, I never had any dedicated space to like talk. So when NeoGAF like just really stuck out as like, okay, hey, we the news comes from here for the most part because we break it here first. Actual developers and stuff get on here and talk about the stuff. Like I was like, this is dope, you know. Like I was ready to like kind of hop in and see, and it was like a process. It wasn't just like sign up and you're in. Like they had to verify your email. Like you can just have some random email or whatever. So like when I finally signed up and got in, like maybe like a month later, you know, it was cool. Like I didn't go crazy or whatever, but like it was fun times. But for this decade though, just the way people just discuss stuff, whether it be because of the advent of social media or just how crazy the real world is, people talk different. So like throughout the year, like the first console like generation that I was on NeoGAF for was again, like I said, Xbox One and PS4. It was funny. There were memes upon memes. Like, and granted, yeah, it was like fanboy console wars type stuff. I have a whole dissertation about my opinions on fanboys and the console wars in and of it. So that may be very polarized to other people, but that's for another pod. But anyway, like I mean, like it was just fun times. Like it was lots of jokes, lots of memes,
Yeah.
lots of your system sucks because it's not performing well, or like Microsoft is crazy, Sony just won. Like it was great. It just felt really good to like be involved, but it wasn't like we hate Microsoft. Like the worst thing I guess that just was happening back then was like just bomb threats. People were like, I'm gonna go blow this building up. And it's like, you're not gonna do that. Like just you're not gonna do that. It's stupid.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
then yeah, like it seems like this has been the decade more recently for just like death threats, um, doxing, uh, DDoS attacks on people's internet or like companies' internets, security breaches like with Capcom recently, and then yeah, like just volatileness, like just like people are ready to be on extremes. You either really, 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 really like something and you'll defend it to the death,
That is
or
it.
you really, 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 really hate something completely. Like you hate it, it's trash. And there's no middle ground. There's no room almost for like discussion. So like I get on Reset Era because again, I love the community in the sense that I've grown up with it for the better portion of my adult life here. And still I get frustrated at what I read sometimes or like how people express themselves because like they just don't come off as adults. They don't come off as like you really want to have a discussion. You just want to talk about how mad you are about this game. And it's like when the big stuff happens, it's almost like you just revel in it. Like, yeah, with like Last of Us 2 discussion was like terrible because it just was like, oh, the game where everyone dies or they kill Joel, or like some people were like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, I can't believe they did it. And it's like there's no like middle ground of like just like let's talk about it. Like,
There's
what does it mean? Like,
exactly.
nah. It's like
There's not.
it's gutter trash, and it's like that's not a gutter trash game. I'm sorry. Like, you can dislike things that they did and the choices that they make, but it's like saying that Infinity War is a bad movie because everyone dies. And shout out to my wife because my wife hates Infinity War because everyone dies, and she says it's a bad movie, and it's like it's not a bad movie. Like it's a great movie. It makes you feel emotional, but it's not a bad movie. And it's like that's how I feel about like Last of Us 2. It's like they take your favorite character and they kill him, and the story keeps going. It's okay. Like that does that mean it's a bad game? Does the game play bad? Like is the game terrible? Like I don't know. Like that's the stuff that like actual discussion can be had about, but people don't want to talk about it. This is like no, it's trash.
No, it's just like I don't know when it happened because I definitely agree a lot with what you're saying. Like early internet days was just fun. Like it was just cool, but I don't know when everything just got so toxic and divisive where everybody just feels like they need to argue and just not and just not like
Yeah.
at least try to have a civil discussion on stuff. Like even Donkey had a
Mm-hmm.
video where he was talking about I think all the comments that he got or random comments he was getting from people who hated Last of Us 2 and just people
Right.
that liked
Or
it
he's like a
saying
corporate
like, "Oh,
shill. He's getting
something's wrong
money.
with him." It's like no, yeah, exactly. It's like no, you can
Yeah.
enjoy a game because you genuinely like it. I don't see the issue in that. Like me for example, I may not, I'm definitely one of those people who was like in the group of like
Mm-hmm.
there was not a I don't agree with a lot of decisions
For
made by
Last of
the
Us, right?
story or I feel like it could
Yeah.
have been executed better. Do I think that game exactly, yeah, The Last of Us.
Yeah.
But do I think that game is terrible? Not by a long shot. You cannot play that hospital scene with
Mm-hmm.
Abby and not be like this game is terrible. It's not. There are just certain things like even certain elements story wise I see it and I get it and I understand it and I like it.
Yeah.
I may not agree with everything, but I can't call this game terrible. So it's like you said, there's no middle ground. Either you gotta stand by hating something, or you just have to absolutely
Yeah.
love it. You can't just be meh on something. It's weird. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a whole Jordan LeBron
Yeah.
debate. That debate is so stupidly toxic for no
At
reason.
all, bro.
Neither of them people is
At
paying
all.
y'all to defend them. Why are y'all
And
going too
sometimes we just
hard
set ourselves up for the
to
pain too,
just
like
the
in the sense
internet
of
is
like,
weird nowadays.
I always think of Minecraft Steve at this point. Like Smash, you have to learn that the Smash hype train is like sometimes you just don't know where it's gonna take you. You don't know how far this trip is going and how good it's going
This
to
is
be.
true.
If you're gonna be along for
This
the
is
ride,
true.
just shut up and get along for the ride. Like speculate all you want, but you can't emotionally invest yourself in the speculation. Like, do I want to see Goku in Smash? Of course. Like, of course. Like, if Goku ever comes to Smash, it'll be amazing. It's the most impossible thing to me now at this point, especially after Smash has done all the incredible reveals that it's done so far. Like, yeah, Sora should be on the game, and I think that's more realistic. And every time he doesn't show up, I'm slightly disappointed. But I can't say I hate Smash because Sora's not in the game. Like, it's still Smash. Like, it's still the best fighting game that's ever come out. Like, yeah, Minecraft Steve is in the game, and that's really weird. But am I gonna boycott it? Like, no. Like, and you just have some people who just they'll take that as like such a personal offense. Like, how dare they? And I'm like, fam, they have buckets of money, like truckloads, corporate buildings full of money. They do not care that you, in particular, if you never buy Smash Brothers again, they're gonna be so okay. So yeah, and that's why that's why it's cool because I think we've had our Discord for about the better portion of maybe 2 years now. It started off as just like a small channel of just like us just talking about Smash Brothers. I think I was going past that today and like Smash Zone. I'm like, I remember when I made that. That was like, man, so long ago at this point in time. And like now, like we have a Discord channel and it's still pretty insular. Like, we're not epically big or anything. We have a whole bunch of people in it, but for the discussion that does foster there is more reasonable. And some people do come in with hot takes, self-included. Like I love trolling sometimes. Like it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Like whatever.
No.
But it's understood because you all know me. I know you all. So the context of our conversation is more understood easily, I should say. Speaking of which, I guess Are.dot just wanted to come in and use his Twitter fingers everywhere. So what's up, man? You decided to join us?
I'm here.
Yeah. You eat good? Don't say nothing incriminating. We are putting this on YouTube.
Yeah, no, it was excellent though. I enjoyed my night.
Excellent.
So I assume no one can see me for some reason.
No, you're just a big mic, and you just
Okay,
now. Yeah, there you go.
weird.
Swag.
Hey. Super random and very much off topic, but I saw a post somebody made where they said MK11
It's true.
For who?
is like
It's true.
Smash Bros for millennials.
Oh,
Wasn't Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in one of them, or was that in like the Injustice joint?
oh yeah.
It's all the same. It's all the same.
That was Injustice. But they
Oh yeah.
what NRS
Oh, yeah.
always keeps them 80 stars.
They literally have like
It's very
Terminator,
cute.
Rambo, Predator, Alien.
It was like
They have like all of them, and it's like, all right,
4K.
Yep.
Leatherface,
They got
Freddy, Jason.
Leatherface in one.
Did they have Michael Myers? Like, was that? He may be the only one they didn't have. I think.
Was that a thing? Yeah, I think that might be the single.
No, they'll find a way.
I don't even know what you
Chokehold people.
But
Yeah, exactly. Just,
yeah, then again, they did
just choke people out.
Yeah,
You'll be all right.
They did
It's crazy, bro. Like those games, literally, like granted, Mortal Kombat has been around for a while, and it's all about, it's historic characters, but the DLCs are what people look forward to the most. I think at this point, like it is the Smash Brothers of that type of genre of fighting game. Yeah, it's never really been my bag. Like, I don't like the mega realistic portrayals of blood and gore. But at the same time, I just feel like the way they animate in Mortal Kombat, coming from someone who just plays a lot of Street Fighter or used to play a lot of Street Fighter, not as much anymore, but I don't know. The fluidity of it just never attracted me as much anymore. I love Tekken. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tekken has that better movement, Dead or Alive, stuff like that. But like, yeah. But I mean, push come to shove, when it comes to like, if we talk about like games that have a budget and does it well, like I think NetherRealm Studios does a good job with like making fighting games that actually have stories, and like a story that you go through the cutscenes, and it's like a fighting game, like instead of the the static pictures that you see for most games. They're like second to Smash Brothers, I would say, in that regard at this point. Like no one's putting that amount of time and energy. Like Capcom tried to, and it was like a disaster. So yeah. Oh man, you brought up Infinite earlier too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I knew it was gonna be bad. When they dropped it on 2 people, I was like, oh, it's not Marvel, baby. Like, it's not it. It's not it if you not got 3 people. Like that's when like Dragon Ball like got announced. I was like, oh, this is crazy. This is the best Marvel game ever. Like, Dragon Ball Z characters in it. It's great. It's great. Now, I do think hopefully in the future, Capcom, since they kind of seem to be on some good strides right now, like hopefully we go back to a return to form. They can do Marvel 2 as many times as they want, and I'll buy it. So hopefully, I know they don't have all the rights maybe to every single person, but even if they went back to sprites, like, they don't have to be 3D for me. Like, I just like fast, quick, button mashy fighting games, and I think Marvel Capcom 2 could do that. But 3 was good. Ultimate being available on PS4 is good, and I think that is compatible, obviously, with PS5 as well. But yeah, Infinite is not the move, bro. Like, I heard the gameplay itself can be fun at times when I watch like Max videos and stuff, but nah, I'm good. They look ugly. They look terrible. Yeah. Yeah, man. So this is good. This is like an hour 30 now. So I'm about to head off. Maybe we can test the backup recordings and stuff and make sure all that stuff comes through fine. Just to give you an update, Remy, like, everything was a disaster earlier. No. I logged in with Jordan at first and it was working, and then Brandon came in, and then I guess he hacked my computer and made it not work. Because for some reason, when he got in, my stuff just like did not want to do anything. From my mic stopped working. I couldn't like unmute myself. I had like uninstalled drivers for my computer from my mic again. Like, it was very strange. Yeah, it was weird.
What?
It was weird. But yeah, this was just supposed to be like a 5-minute test just to see if it was gonna actually go through properly. And yeah, so far it's been successful. So yeah.
Wait, why does it say I won't be recorded? That's why.
We might a good thing to.
I'm a producer. No, I'm a producer.
Wait, if you come in late,
maybe you just have to come in as a guest or a host, and
you can.
I don't know.
Into the sun.
I will say we might have to test.
Yeah, the feedback was tragic.
People coming in, you might want to ride
tragic.
phones, because yeah, because it's not like Zoom and Discord where it cuts to kind of having one person talk more so than the others. So it's a lot of people talking over each other, and then you could.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons to that. That's good to hear, but also
from other people's microphones.
Yeah. All right, though. Well, I'm gonna hop off for tonight, but yeah. I don't think we introduced ourselves. So again, I'm Japanmanx3.
And this is R.dot very early to the party.
I'm chill.
Very early, he says. What, the I'm chill? I'm chill. Nah, you gotta keep that. That's you now. That's you now.
Going to phrase.
All right, boys.
Wait,
I'll see
off
y'all.
topic. What's the name
Oh
of the
yeah.
new Fresh Prince joint?
It's just a reunion, as far as I know.
I don't see it.
Let me see.
I was gonna ask. Well, I actually had questions about actually like what topics and stuff y'all touched, but I mean, never mind. I guess I'll.
Nah, it's just we just basically went over. We talked about Kingdom Hearts just as a meme, and then it actually became like a actual conversation. It should be called the Fresh Prince Reunion Special, I think.
Yeah, no, it came out as a movie, not like I thought it was like a. It's gonna be more than one, but nah, this is just like a little movie.
Yeah. What we talk about, Jordan? KH for a while. Yeah. Oh yeah, conversation on the internet is kind of impossible.
Talked about how the internet is trash.
Free Melee.
Yeah, free Melee. And kind of branch that into how companies use a lot of their power, or not their power, but use
the gray areas of emulation and stuff. Like,
good stuff.
I guess it's kind of like devil's advocate. Like, I kind of understand.
I don't know how I watched that whole video with him, by the way, but I did. I can say that.
The whole law one? Yeah.
There's a lot of redundancy, but
Jordan, you okay with it?
Talk about Nintendo, then just got him quick.
The camera
Nah, your mic was spazzing for a minute.
Yeah, it's loud. He's just wrestling for your life. Oh, bye-bye.
Dang, where'd he go? All right. Well, yeah, like, I mean, I appreciated him breaking it down. I actually watched another video he did about the YouTube adjustments that just recently happened with their terms and policies. And I get it. Like, at the end of the day, like, emotionally, I will hope that Melee could be as successful as the community wants it to be. But I understand there are legal ramifications to certain things, and you can't just like let people just run over your IPs just willy-nilly. But I do think at the end of the day, there should be just a meeting of the minds between Smash community, Nintendo get with the dude that made Slippy, and just make Melee HD.
That's why I made a comment I made where I wish they used another catalyst to kind of bring this to the forefront. Because this ain't it. They knew. They never tried to pull something before.
They've been letting it go this whole time.
Nah, so, they never. Even with before Slippy, what's the name of the GameCube emulator?
Dolphin?
Yeah, like even with Dolphin, like they knew that already for years. Like they seen everyone else crumble because he used Dolphin. They've been got the ban hammer for using Dolphin, so they know already. And this is Big House. They just super duper know.
Oh, you talking about Big House should know that, or versus Nintendo?
Yeah, like no, all the organizations, like all the tournaments, they know Dolphin versus Nintendo. They know how that's been, and that was 10 years ago. That's always been a thing, and so hence why we still doing CRT monitors. Like, come on now. So it's like jump forward to 2020. Nah.
Yeah, it's murky. I wish it success. I know Slippy will get his stuff now, but I mean, I just think, like if anything, like I take it like how I take people, and they don't want it to get cease and desisted off rip.
Yeah.
Depending upon the company, like most companies aren't cool with you just doing it, but some of them just won't say anything, or some embrace it, like Sega did with the dude that made Sonic Mania. It took years for him to do that though, to even get that type of approval. Whereas like with Nintendo, I mean, like they just have a whole bunch of characters, a whole bunch of good franchises. Like it's like with the Metroid stuff. Like I know BJ will be furious probably because of AM2 and it getting shut down, but he still released it. The dude still released it at the end of the day, and it's like pretty good as far as I heard. But at the end of the day, it's like Nintendo didn't make it. They still own Metroid. Like it's their stuff. So I get it. Like you're not supposed to just let people just be able to like run over your junk and just take it and do what they want with it. But at the same time, like if you're going to do it. Just don't put it on the internet, or just don't be mad vocal about it. Like so many of them come in and say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this, and we need your support, even money." And it's like, no, these are the wrong ways to do this, and they're going to tell you to stop. Like, I think it's something that happened with like a Pokemon mod that came out a few years ago, or was supposed to be coming out, and it was like an MMO style Pokemon game. Sounds lit. Don't tell anyone about it until you can release it, and it can be downloaded on people's computers before it gets cease and desisted, or else it's a wrap. And it's like with Slippy, it's like, fam, y'all know Slippy is not 100%. Like, is it murky gray area? Yes,
from
but you don't have the long.
You don't
money.
have to say nothing else. Yeah,
exactly. Like, you don't have the long money to just be like, I can fight this in court and prove my case. You can't. Like, it's Nintendo, fam. So I just feel like at this point, seeing proof that Sleepy works is like cool. Do a Melee HD, but even then, like, I don't think Nintendo wants to do that because they've always focused on one Smash Brothers at a time. And I get that too. Like, in their best business interest, like, they don't want you to play the 20-year-old game that they don't even make the hardware for anymore. But at the same time, I do think there is going to be a GameCube classic at some point.
And that was a part of his legal breakdown that also kind of makes sense with the fact that it's someone pushing the interest for a Nintendo property, and it's not Nintendo. So even if they wanted to timely reintroduce people or have people invest into a Melee classic, they can't. It's out of their control, and they don't.
Yeah, Cass is like, I got Melee on computer for like 5 years now. Like, I don't have to do that.
And there's also like, it'll be Nintendo catching up to. It's not Nintendo in control, and so it's like that's all that could mess up their own schedule, or just how they want to do it, or just even their pride and control as a company with their own IPs. Like,
it sucks.
1000%.
Like, I get it. I'm mad too on one end, but I get it at least. I don't know. Like, you can't just like, and it's kind of like rolling back to the internet conversation where like, Nintendo's is the worst company ever. I'm like, okay, fam, you don't own stuff. You don't own an investment. You don't have a company. You don't have a business. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
You don't own stuff.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw someone on Reset Era the other day. They got banned because it was like an alt account. And I was like, oh, that's how you was getting that stupid stuff off. But it was like, oh, yes, I say they should just fight for it. Like, go to court, spend all their money, and just keep fighting because it's right. And I'm like, nah, bro, this could like sink their whole life.
That sounds crazy.
Half Atlanta.
That sounds gross. And it's just over the turn.
My wife said
the worst part is the fact that it's a seize, and this is like, so they can't come back. That's really the worst part.
They should have just let them do Ultimate. Like, and I don't say Nintendo should have just let them, because apparently, like, it sounded like they would have been fine as long as they would have stopped.
Don't use Slippy.
But it's like,
just did it.
Just don't use Slippy and do Ultimate, bro.
Better. That's why. And honestly, it's like they should not have used this as a catalyst. They 100% knew better and knew what they were doing. They said no. And then Nintendo was like, okay.
It's like you're gonna put them in a hard spot, and they're gonna do what they have to do, and that's why it hurts, because it's like y'all forced the hand of something that was working. Like, they haven't bothered anyone using Slippy, and they still won't for the most part. But like, it's a big tournament, and there's money being transacted for the tournament to run.
And Nintendo's giving them money before as the thing too. They gave them the rights and they gave them money before, so now it's like, all right, you're making this real difficult for me.
Yeah, and some, I get it. Like, Capcom is like hand in hand with Evo, so they fully embrace that and support it. But they have a fighting games division, like, they're for that. Smash is just Smash. Like, Sakurai doesn't come out to events just cause. Like, he'll come out to the Nintendo one for E3 or whatever, because that's and that was just with like Smash 4. That wasn't with Brawl, And so I just feel like there has to be. People have to be educated to like have these discussions. Like, that's how I feel at the end of the day. Like, at this point, like, you just have a lot of emotions because it's an emotional topic, because people love this game that's almost old enough to smoke and drink, and it just sucks. It just sucks all around. But hopefully, like I said earlier, I hope the Ludwig charity stream goes through fine, because it's for charity, and maybe that's not as hard on the news, but something should happen. Something should happen.
Yeah, that was a good little tidbit, him throwing in all this, throwing his own movement with it.
Yeah.
And like everyone else that was like in their Reddit thread, I did not know he was so big on Twitch right now.
Oh no, logo's crazy. Like
it's nuts.
They're all big. Like, dude, I sent y'all those Hungry Box videos last night because I was dying laughing. I'm probably gonna watch them again today. But his stuff is really funny too. Like, I mean, but he has a big community on YouTube as well. And I think probably a lot of them have started to try to change their stuff over because of the pandemic. But yeah, I think overall, I know Leffen can be very vocal about Nintendo and what he does not like about them. A lot of them don't really like the company itself. A lot of them just like Melee. Like a lot of them don't even rock with all the games that they make, which is cool. You don't have to.
As we play Valorant. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Tell me why we were having our conversation about, people not being like objective and just having to pick one side or the other. Tell me why I get a notification from Reddit that suggested objectivism as a channel, and it's literally just a channel for people who are like, we're just gonna chill in the in between, gonna let y'all extremes fight it out. We're just gonna chill in the middle. Why? Why?
Give it 3 days.
The feds.
Give it 3 days, and that place is gonna be a war zone.
Yeah, that is true.
It's probably already a war zone. It's funny because like the new consoles dropped, and so Digital Foundry is like the known source for like super in-depth visual examinations of like the new consoles as far as like the graphics that they can put out and comparisons and everything like that. And they've been doing this for years and years and years. And with these new consoles, it's just like they suck. They're not the best. And it's like, fam, they have a proven track record like of being the most objectives out here. And people can't take it. Like it has to be one way or the other. It's so stupid. All right, y'all, but I'm out. I'll be back with this a little later on just to kind of see how the download stuff works. But yeah, I think this weekend for sure we can spruce up the YouTube. I also probably talk about what type of image y'all want to use for like the little thing. I just threw up a little stock one that Remy had threw in our group chat a while ago for like the YouTube icon. And y'all get together some intro music so we can have that, some background music that we could loop for like 20 minutes for that unboxing video. And yeah.
That's Jordan's job.
Oh, well. Get on your job, man. All right, y'all. I'll holler.
All right, man.
All right.
All right. So it said Mix had like 500 megabytes of recording. And it said you have like 8.
Yeah, I think it's because Migs was host, and then I just joined on guest.
Okay. And your volume's lower too, by the way. I don't know if they said something to you earlier.
No. Let me see.
Like your mic volume is significantly lower than Miguel's.
Does that help any? I know it's gonna. I want to see how to mess around with the volume of it.
Yeah, I don't see, like, even for myself, I don't see how I can mess with my own personal volume. That's whatever. Yeah, I could just change my input. That's it. Anyway. So Riverside was straightforward though for you guys. It was just the technical issues after people started hopping in, right?
Yeah. And I think it was just something extra that came in and happened. I don't know if it was. I don't think that's gonna be a consistent thing because we had 3 people in here. Like when you joined, like none of that stuff happened. Like it was only once Brandon joined that I think everything started going bad on Miguel's end. So.
Oh, but you said Miguel was host too, though.
Yeah, so at the time we were both hosts, or at least he joined under the same thing because he has the login.
Yeah, I clicked the old link or whatever was in our little chat. To be honest,
I sent that because initially I was the host, but I didn't know if you could set it to have like multiple hosts. So I was just like, oh, maybe your producer is sort of like the host. I don't know. But I guess the producer in this case would be like maybe a mod and like behind the scenes.
It'd be like Savon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it told me off rip, and it kept. If I hover over again, so yeah, nothing you're doing is recorded. So if it says like you guys record, even under the recordings, yeah, I'm not listed or nothing.
It's like, yeah, you have no impact here.
Yeah, it's like you here, which is
Are
cool
you
too.
are you still able to like control stuff though on your end, or is it
Yeah, so I
just
guess technically I can do that. It lets me mute you. Um, I could. I think earlier I was clicking stuff and I seen that I could disconnect Meg.
oh
So I
really
guess I
just like
can
kick
do
him out?
stuff. Yeah, I said disconnect from call.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
But I guess I can kick people out and stuff. Um, I can't change the title. It says untitled recording. I can't change that name.
Okay.
I can't see much.
Well, I definitely can't because I'm a guest right now, but I know what you mean.
And so yeah. So I'm surprised this. I'm glad this worked. The lack of the echo cancellation stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
seen that you have to manually turn it on, which is cool. To be honest, that's also why there's a lot of weird stuff in Zoom meetings, is because they process and they have too much control over the audio.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good that they don't have that on here. It keeps it all in the power. Bye, kitty cats. Um, so it's just wait, who's the three?
It was me, Miguel, and Brandon.
And no one else popped in?
Mm-mm. Well, no. Julian popped in for like a second, but we were still trying to. I was still trying to help out Miguel on his end, so we weren't even like doing anything at the time.
Okay. Did you see me try to hop in earlier? It's
Um,
probably like
if
six ish.
I don't think so, cause if oh, it wasn't up at 6. If that's the case, or was it? It might
I
have
was
been up, and I
it
just
was
didn't see it.
after because I used the same link. So I did it on my
Oh.
phone. I clicked on my phone and tried to join in. I probably didn't do the second. You're supposed to press a button twice.
Mhm.
So you click join, you set your cam and all that. And I think you're supposed to press join, and then it says join enter waiting room. It's like you join session, then it says enter waiting room. I didn't press enter waiting room because I didn't see that option.
Okay.
But I know I tried earlier and nothing happened. I was like, okay, whatever.
So I might have. I think I turned the waiting room off for it, if anything. So I don't know if that has any effect. But I will say, when Miguel told me he was out getting food, I left the room open, but I was literally just on Twitch watching stuff. So I
Hmm.
didn't even have the screen up. So if you did join, I probably didn't see you.
Okay. And I'm gonna let that for like a couple, like maybe a minute, and that just popped off. Cause I know what's going on.
Nah, it was.
This seems straightforward though. It seemed like this is decent.
No, it's definitely nice. I feel like it's a lot easier layout wise too, to be able to finesse all of this stuff.
That's good. Oh, I missed an ask about Miguel being a host. Because I think the local recording could have like bogged him down, or he could have been if when you guys have four people, all the different stuff going on at once could have just messed him up too. But I don't know how it's configured, so who knows?
Okay.
I guess we could do some more playing around with that.
That is true. I don't mind hopping on here a little bit later tomorrow, cause I gotta leave to go run a couple errands, but I should be back at home at like 6.
Okay, cool. I should yeah, I don't think we got nothing crazy going on either. We were thinking of like running to the coast, but I
Mhm.
don't think that's happening. I have a Bible study and stuff tomorrow, but that's early in the day. It means early in the day, that's early in the day, and so I should be here. And
I
then next
figure.
weekend, the boy will just be here.
That's one thing we were saying is like we might we might go ahead and schedule the podcast
The
for
Thanksgiving pod.
Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah, yeah. Gonna have some. I'm gonna have some turkey on the like right here, somewhere ish.
Oh my
Just
god.
randomly on a stand. It's
I
just
hope
gonna be
not.
sitting next to me,
Was there any turkey like in anime? There's a turkey Pokemon.
Is it really?
No, probably. That's literally what I'm gonna do. A turkey Pokemon. Oh, there's actually a whole petition. There isn't one. They don't understand why not. Oh, they try to call him Gobble. Oh, this is actually kind of cute.
Okay then. Cool. That sounds quite interesting. How many people signed it?
I ain't seen them. I know the thousands. And there's mad Reddit threads and stuff about why there's not a turkey Pokemon. This is funny.
Really? Why is this body a baseball?
Why do you go so deep with the wordplay? Like God ball,
Oh
like bunky.
my gosh.
Wow. Alright. So we got this for the whole month, right?
We do indeed.
Cool. I'm trying to think what else can we use this for. We could do other videos and stuff too. If you're trying to flood the streets, they don't have to always be podcasts. You could do like quick in and out joints.
That is true.
It's not news topics, but like you can do like which one called channel? The which one called channel Miguel is always an advocate for.
Oh,
The YouTube channel, the cats.
why is that? And I watch them too.
Yeah.
That's what makes this worse.
Oh yeah, but like it's, they have usually like longer episodes and stuff too. But
Ooh, my bad.
same premise though. Like we can pop in, it's like, oh, this just happened. We can come in like do quick 10 minutes. All right, pop out.
I wouldn't mind that. That's actually a really good idea. And I still don't mind that idea that you dropped of having like what everybody's been playing
Oh, the week joint
throughout the week.
or
Mm-hmm.
whatever interval. I'm still
That'd be
finishing
good.
Bebop, and I've been having so many questions and stuff this past week of Bebop. Like, why is there so much weird sexual stuff and innuendos in this show? Bebop is very interesting. Their filler is weird too. Like, I'm not sure if I should start skipping episodes, but it's like the fact that they have fillers in this show is like it's weird to me.
Hmm. I wouldn't skip it. I mean, I'm biased because it's my favorite anime, but
Bebop is really good for a '90s show. I was like, yeah, this is very. I've missed out.
hmm
I probably would be very snobbish in anime if I actually would. If this was my level when I was a kid.
I can believe that. I feel like 90s anime put a lot of it, even though it may not be as advanced like fight wise and tech wise, story wise, them 90s animes is hard to touch.
Inuyasha and Dragon Ball is nothing like this.
Yeah.
They're very G and they're very new, like middle of the way.
hmm
This is at least B plus, A minus. Like this could be movie snob worthy. Like
hmm there's already I saw a video about like Bebop and some of the themes that they were breaking down in it, and I was like, wow, it's a lot deeper than I thought.
in the '90s,
In the 90s, yeah.
not even early 2000s. I've been enjoying this. I've been running through these episodes at work, but running through like 3 episodes, 4 episodes a day, and I still haven't finished it. I guess I'm not really running through them, but I feel like I've been watching these episodes and I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, it's not too many. I think it's like 20, 23, 24, somewhere around
Yeah. So I'm past, at least I know I'm past the halfway mark. I think I'm on like episode 15 or 16. And so I guess I'm supposed to go from this to, I'm supposed to go from this to whatever. I think I'm supposed to go from this to actually playing Spider-Man. I'm supposed to bring this controller to work. But
there.
as far as watching anime wise, I'm supposed to go from this to watching the other one. Shampoo.